Daniel and Ava had lived on the same street for as long as they could remember. Their mothers, Lucy and Martha, had also grown up together, forging a friendship that lasted into adulthood. When Lucy and Martha both discovered they were pregnant around the same time, they were overjoyed. They imagined their children becoming just as inseparable as they were, sharing countless milestones and building a lifetime of treasured memories together. From the moment Daniel and Ava were old enough to walk and talk, they stuck to each other like glue. They attended the same preschool, later moved into the same elementary classes, and were almost always together after school. Whether they were running around in each other's yards, drawing on the sidewalk with chalk, or simply playing board games in a cozy living room, they found comfort in doing everything side by side. Both families joked that the two children acted more like siblings than friends. Over the years, Daniel and Ava became known as the best friend duo around the neighborhood. Their teachers would look forward to seeing them walk in, often giggling or chatting about the newest cartoons or games they were fascinated by. Lucy and Martha, proud of their kids' academic abilities, frequently encouraged them to study together. They believed that gentle competition and shared study sessions would help both children excel in school. One year, just before final exams, Lucy came up with an idea to motivate the children. She promised that whoever achieved the highest score in class would receive a brand new cell phone. Daniel and Ava, both excited by the challenge, vowed to increase their study time. They spent long evenings at the dining table, poring over textbooks and quizzing each other on what they had learned in class. It became a friendly rivalry, one that pushed both children to do better. When exam results were finally announced, Ava narrowly outperformed Daniel, emerging as the top scorer in the class. Daniel's performance was outstanding as well, earning him second place. Even though he felt a brief pang of disappointment, he brushed it off and genuinely congratulated Ava on her achievement. True to her word, Lucy presented Ava with a neatly wrapped box, inside of which was a shiny new phone. Ava grinned from ear to ear as she held the device, already brimming with ideas of what she and Daniel could do with it. They teased each other lightheartedly about next year's scores, promising to study just as hard. Initially, the phone was used for typical kid-friendly activities. They downloaded games, played around with photo filters, and occasionally watched funny or educational videos. Their parents monitored them at first, just to ensure they weren't wandering into unfamiliar corners of the internet. However, as the days passed, Lucy and Martha became more occupied with their own jobs and household responsibilities. They began to trust that Daniel and Ava were mature enough to handle the phone responsibly. After all, the kids had shown no previous signs of trouble. One day, while scrolling through random online videos, the children stumbled upon something that left them confused. The thumbnail looked different, definitely not a cartoon or a children's show. They clicked on it, their curiosity piqued. The content turned out to be adult material, something meant for far older viewers. Daniel and Ava felt uneasy, but they continued watching, finding it strange and unfamiliar. They whispered to each other that perhaps they should close it, but neither could tear their eyes away. That accidental discovery turned into a secret routine. Each day after school, instead of turning on their favorite cartoons or sharing funny videos of animals, Daniel and Ava quietly slipped away to watch more of the adult content. It was something they knew their parents would never allow, yet they couldn't resist the pull of curiosity. They found themselves searching for similar clips, pushing aside the discomfort they initially felt. Over time, they became less interested in their usual hobbies, board games, sports, and animated shows that once brought them so much joy. The change did not go unnoticed. In class, Daniel and Ava started daydreaming. Their grades, which had been so impressive, began to slide. Lucy and Martha, although still unaware of the exact cause, sensed something was amiss. The children were less open at home, often preoccupied or withdrawn. Their teachers mentioned that both Daniel and Ava seemed distracted and that their attention had wandered significantly in recent weeks. Yet, neither child admitted what was really happening. The more they watched, the deeper they sank into confusion. The content they consumed seemed so different from the wholesome environment they had grown up in. Without any guidance or proper context, they couldn't make sense of it. Eventually, curiosity drove them to experiment with each other, mimicking actions they had seen on the screen. Although it felt strange, it also felt like a secret they wanted to explore. One afternoon, they lingered in an empty classroom after the final bell. They believed everyone else had gone home, and that nobody would walk in on them. But as they attempted to reenact the behavior they had watched so many times, the classroom door swung open. Their teacher stood there, stunned by what she saw. Daniel and Ava were equally shocked, scrambling to fix their clothes and their composure. Without a word, the teacher motioned for them to follow her to the principal's office. Lucy and Martha rushed to the school when they received frantic calls from the principal. They arrived to find Daniel and Ava sitting in chairs outside the office, eyes cast down, refusing to look up. The principal explained, with a heavy sigh, that the children had been discovered participating in acts they clearly did not understand. She also revealed that the school maintained a strict policy when it came to inappropriate behavior on campus. Both mothers were horrified, not just by what the children had done, but by how they had arrived at that point. It was only then that the truth about the adult videos came to light. Lucy and Martha felt immense guilt. They had allowed Ava to use the phone freely, and Daniel had joined in. In their desire to offer the latest technology and trust their children to be responsible, they had neglected to set essential boundaries or supervise them. It was clear that a grave mistake had been made. The principal expressed deep concern about the potential impact on other students as well. Feeling that a strong message needed to be sent, she announced that Daniel and Ava were both expelled. The mothers pleaded for leniency, explaining they would take measures to correct what had happened, but the principal remained firm. By the end of the meeting, the two families were left with no choice but to accept the expulsion. That evening, Lucy and Martha held long, painful conversations with their children. Both sets of parents explained that what Daniel and Ava had been watching was not appropriate for their age and could be harmful. They arranged medical checkups and professional guidance for them, wanting to ensure the children would recover emotionally and understand why the material they had seen was not meant for them. Daniel and Ava were enrolled in different schools. Their parents limited their access to the internet, installing parental controls and software that restricted explicit content. The once carefree pair could no longer visit each other freely without supervision, and though they remained friends in name, a certain unease had replaced the simple warmth that once defined their bond. In time, both children began to focus again on their studies, slowly regaining some sense of normalcy. Yet, the experience lingered in their minds, a reminder of how a single moment of unchecked curiosity could alter the course of their childhood. Lucy and Martha, for their part, became advocates for internet safety, frequently sharing their story with other parents to underscore the importance of open communication, supervision, and timely education about what children might encounter online. For Daniel and Ava, life went on, but the repercussions of their mistakes stayed with them. They had learned, in the hardest way possible, that some doors are better left unopened until one is truly ready to understand what lies on the other side. Their parents, equally affected, discovered that trust must be paired with guidance, and love must be paired with vigilance. It was a lesson no one in either family would ever forget.